Hello, good evening and welcome to the Adelaide Aquatic Centre down here in Marion. My name is Dave Webb. I'm joined in commentary tonight by Peter Cleary. Now the calendar has just clicked over into autumn and that can mean only one thing, that the Summon Sports are in their grand finals. Peter, grand final number 1 of the year, and it's water polo.
Yes, that's a great way to introduce it. We've got two great teams, very strong, competitive, always been at each other, so I'm sure we're going to get a very keen final tonight.
Now Peter, second time I've done this, and obviously the water polo audience we get tonight may not have seen it before. Just run us through very, very quickly some of the basic rules that people are likely to see tonight.
I think for a start you'll see two...
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen.
That's okay, we can keep going over the top of the loud. We can turn them down if we need to.
We'll see two strong swimmers do the swim up, which will see first possession to the ball. And from that team will go into attack. The objective of the team in attack is to obviously get down closest to their goals as quickly as possible, because there's a shot clock you'll see over there at 30 seconds, and that's the time they have to either get a goal or make a shot at goal, a clear shot at goal. And if they fail to do so, the ball's turned over to the other side. And when you get them set up and set up quickly, you'll find that their strongest player will be sitting in what they call the centre forward position, which is the anchor position, the striker, if you call it that, for water polo, the person which you want to get the ball into, because they've got a pretty strong shot, either backward or forward into the goal. And then to make the movement around the goal so that the goalkeeper is caught off guard, you'll see a lot of passing around the players, a lot of movement, a lot of driving in, pulling back to make sure that there's movement and the goalie's kept on her, figuratively on her toes.
Yeah, and I mean, and that's going to be, it's a big day out for the goalkeeper, because one of the rules is you can't touch the bottom. I mean, it's very, very difficult to touch the bottom in this pool anyway. It's a 3-metre deep pool, but they have to tread water basically for the entire time that they're in the pool, and the goalkeepers will, like I say, be kept on their toes as they move the ball around and try and just find a way through. From memory, it was a low-scoring women's final, I think, last year, or it was very, very close last year. These two teams played against each other. Henley Sharks, I was talking to some of the players before, I think it was 6 times in a row that they've won this.
Yeah, they're a very strong club in the women's particularly, and but Tritons are also a team in the ascendancy, so they won't sit back and expect that to be the answer to tonight. They will certainly be competitive.
Now, 13 players allowed per side. Neither team has got the full 13, but interestingly, and we did talk about the fact that this is a stamina-based sport, very much a stamina-based sport. The Tritons do have numerical advantage. You've got slightly more players getting in the water than the Sharks at the moment, but we'll see whether that actually...
Yeah, there's probably a bit more experience in the Henley team. And a few more girls that are playing, women that are in the National League team, the Adelaide Jets, which they have to be pretty fit for that level of the sport. So I think you'll find that, though, like any other sport, if you've got an extra player, you've got fresh legs and fresh arms it can make a difference, especially towards the end of the game.
Yeah, and one of those players, I had a very brief chat to her, but not really about water polo, more about trying to rope her dad in, who we will hopefully get, Jess Martin, who's wearing the number 4 for the Henley Sharks. She looks very, very experienced. Her dad obviously involved with Australia, and we're hoping to get him at some point and get his insight. But certainly just watching the warm-up and watching her now in that team talk, she certainly is the most experienced in the Henley Sharks side and is taking this whole team under her wing.
That's right. She's the captain of the Adelaide Jets women's team, has been for many years. So she carries that experience with her. She's played in Australian squads before in her junior years. No doubt about her experience. She's probably played over 250 Australia Water Polo League games. So nothing will come as a shock or as a surprise to her tonight. And with that, she's the general. She will command that team very well.
I don't know, is that an actual nickname for her? Have we just christened her the General?
No,
I mean,
there are others.
I
think Jess is a pretty good one. She's Jess, and we all know her as well.
Our referees tonight, Tony Hall and Jason Wedding. That is Tony with the ball in hand at the moment. There will be a swim up. Unfortunately, no donut here at the Adelaide Aquatic Centre to keep the ball in the middle and drop it away. So old-fashioned throw it into the middle.
Yeah, and it works every time. So I've only seen that at the
Olympics. So.
But no, it works very well. Tony's a very experienced referee, so is Jason Wedding.
So here we go. So first possession will go to the Tritons.
That's correct. And as you can see, they're now trying to make their position as quickly as they can towards the goal. And at this stage, Henley are making sure they're manning them one-on-one and keeping between them and the goals. And keeping them far out of the goals, because of course, you know, the further you're out, the harder the shot has to be, more time the goalie's got.
You hear people calling out the shot clock as well as it drops down.
Yep. So you'll see either a shot or a dump of the ball, and they of course shoot into Victoria Tors, as we call her, an experienced goalie as well. Her married name of recent times is Stein.
Oh, so
Stein.
It's a new name for her to get used to.
Right, that's right.
But having watched this, and I likened it to basketball a little bit, of just passing around the perimeter and trying to find an opening. And the first opening looks like it's going to come off the crossbar. Yeah. Holly Porter with the first shot.
She probably leant back a little bit, failed to get the power and failed to get the angle.
I mean, in these early stages, we're expecting everybody's fresh at the moment, so the transition from either side of the pool will be okay. I had a chat with Mr. Wedding, one of our umpires. We had actually had a discussion whether they were umpires or referees. And no, referees. Nobody seemed to be sure, but referees. Had a chat with Jason beforehand. They have managed to get it into a good position in the front.
The centre forward, but she could not get a grip on the ball. But they gave her the space, and she was one-on-one with the centre back. You have to be very careful not to foul her when that ball comes in. You'll see a lot of wrestling before the ball comes in, but once the ball's in and there's a chance of possession, the umpires will be very strict about what the centre back can lay on the centre forward.
That one will go the way of the Tritons.
Yeah. She managed to get the ball without interfering with the centre forward.
I did have a chat with Jason about a lot of the infringements can and do happen underneath the surface. And I asked Jason just how we manage that. And he said most umpires who used to play kind of know by what's going on above the surface what's happening underneath the surface.
Yeah, look, there's, like any sport, there's a little bit of, can I convince the umpire that something happened that really didn't, or was a lot worse than it was. But experience.
Oh, and that comes off the hands and in, and Ellen Traeger got something on it, but just not enough. And the first goal will go to Holly Porter, who was seems to be the target person early doors for the Sharks.
As you can see, she's got a strong shot, which is always important when shooting from range.
Managing to get that shot high as well, which I think will cause goalkeepers issues. Just trying to get out of the water.
Well, that's where the good goalies are capable of keeping themselves in a dangerous position and not sort of losing the strength in their legs as the ball moves around. and presenting an obstacle to the shooter.
Tritons looking to strike back and strike back quickly. Just can't quite get there. Early shot.
She does.
Comes off the surface. It's a good one. Sophie Munchenberg.
Sophie's again one of our Australia Water Polo League players, very skilled player.
We talked about the height. She was out up to her waist. Yeah. Gave the ability to give her that shot that cannoned off the surface.
Yep. It's like any thing, its trajectory is important. The higher you can get, the more angle you can get on the ball, the more options you provide yourself. As you can see, they're trying to make sure that the ball can't come easily into number 4. So number 9 sort of trying to double mark number 6, as well as keep an eye on fullback on Jess Martin at centre forward.
Maddie Lambert, who has had a battle and lost out eventually. Yeah. Early ball. Looking for the break, and Munchenberg, the goal scorer, is looking for somebody. Good position inside from McHugh. And they will get the foul. But a turnover.
Yes.
Early turnover. Now there's a break on. And Martin is away. Wet ball in front of Martin. Manages to get front position. And the backhand from Martin.
That's experience. She knew she was going to get it. It's difficult when the player's coming from behind because it's pretty easy to foul. She knew that was going to happen. She transferred it from one hand to the other and had the easy shot.
We say easy shot, and I think there's going to be a lot of qualification with this. When we say something like an easy shot or easy ball, they are doing this while treading water in a 3-meter deep pool.
Yeah.
So
well,
easy is, you know.
Again, it's experience.
Yeah.
You know what's coming. You know what. You've got to go for your free hand. And that gives, she can play with both left and right hand.
Again, the Tritons looking to go early.
And again, the centre forward's being fouled, so the possession goes back to Tritons.
A reset of the shot clock, another 30 seconds. Having 30 seconds this close. Tritons will want to utilise it. Good save. It's going to come back on the rebound out to the Tritons, and they'll get another go at it. Another 30 seconds. Another big save from Stain. Certainly goalkeepers, this is their time to shine. If they get this right, because they are going to face a lot of shots.
Again,
Martin again just finding a little bit of space, looking to drive into the middle.
And she's been fouled with the ball in front of her, and the ref's given her and the exclusion on number 4 from Tritons for that heavy foul.
So she's allowed 3 of them. 3 of them, and she's done for the day.
On the third, she's out for the day. If you're out for 20 seconds or until there's a change like that and you call back into the pool.
Just a little bit high from Dirk. Charlotte Dirk wearing the number 5 for Henley. That's a great outlet ball. Will find Munchenberg. Found herself in this position a couple of times, Sophie Munchenberg. We're in the final 2 minutes of this quarter.
Very heavy.
Yeah, very heavy foul from Sophie Lambert. 2 Sophies wearing the number 8, just to confuse everybody. But sensible foul. There was certainly a scoring opportunity. Just got away with it. And the Sharks again looking to just find a 2-goal advantage going into the first quarter time break. Space for the shot, good save.
And because it came off the goalkeeper's hand back to the back line, it becomes a 2-metre throw in from Henley. So it doesn't change possession.
Good strong right hand from Traeger.
And on these, the shot clock sets at 20, not 30.
Just working it around, a little bit too high for Dirk. It's going to put them under pressure as the shot clock will go down to 4. The Sharks have given up on it. Long shot, Ellen Traeger made to work. 30 seconds left. So can they find anything?
And they've called an exclusion on number 6.
So McHugh, they will have one player advantage for the final 20 seconds. Thoughts about it? Back out to the point. Again, happy to foul out there. And the shot really had nothing behind it. Less than 10 seconds to go.
It was also too close to the goal for her to take that shot.
Oh, long distance. And made Ellen Traeger think about it. So that is our first quarter time break. 2-1 for Henley. Interesting start.
Well, as always, you'll see the pace quite quick in that first quarter with a lot of change of possession. But I think, I believe Tritons were lucky to only be 1 goal down. They lost a couple of possessions that were unnecessary, giving the ball back to Henley. But they defended well when they were up there.
They have defended well, and interestingly, they've just managed to not allow Henley to get too much space when shooting. They have managed to shut that down, and then the counter-attacking wise, they've been okay. There's been a lot of outlet over to that far side of the pool to Sophie Munchenberg, who has looked pretty dangerous in that first quarter. Yeah. It's going to be. Is the experience of the Henley Sharks going to show in the next couple of quarters?
Yeah, well, I think there's also a tendency when you've got a dominant player like Jess Martin to perhaps be over-reliant and be looking for that too often instead of creating other options, and maybe they'll open up if they look for other players to score. Equally, as you saw with Sophie Munchenberg, she's not a tall or a big player, but she's quick. And that speed gives them the advantage as they're chasing down the pool, trying to set up and create positions.
Has given them an outlet all the time, and we did talk about goalkeepers and how important goalkeepers can be in a grand final, because it's big. And there was a couple of big saves from Ellen Traeger. Victoria Stain has looked really, really good and confident between the sticks as well.
Again. Tours, as we call her, a lot of experience, was formerly the Jets goalkeeper until this season, so knows how to position herself well. Very strong player as well. But you're right, both goalkeepers have actually managed to cut off the angles quite well, so only 3 goals in, that's keeping the game tight.
And imagine as we go through and the legs start to fill with lactic acid and the shoulders start to fill up with lactic acid, that's certainly going to be probably likely to see it open up a little bit more as we go through the night.
I think that's the case. You may see that the stronger players are able to get that sprint counter-attack, which once they're away, like we saw with Jess Martin before, it's very hard to stop that.
And that goal is the difference. That Jess Martin breakaway goal is the difference as we get ready for quarter number 2. 7-minute quarters. So it looks like it will be Sophie Munchenberg for the Tritons nearest the ball, and Holly Porter. Jason Wedding missing, and then finally getting it in front. And Munchenberg will get there. Sigh of relief from Jason Wedding.
Oh, he's been on holiday, he's a bit rusty.
So the Tritons, like the start of the first quarter, will get first bite of the cherry.
Defence is set up quite well.
Dangerous pass, and Holly Porter nearly got hands on it. This little dump over the top. 20.
That's what they call dumping the ball, just to make sure that the opposition doesn't get their hands on it too quickly.
I don't think they realised that they got the foul, and Another 20 seconds by the shot clock.
No, that wouldn't have been. That was a normal possession. So no reset of the shot clock.
Over to Martin. Martin looked for accuracy, came off the woodwork. Traeger with the outlet to Rate. Munchenberg just moved to the point now.
Hands up, press no foul.
Little dump inside again,
and there's the reset with the exclusion foul against the centre back. So we're an extra man for Tritons.
That's unlucky. Stain, unfortunate. Came off the surface, off the post, back onto Stain.
Yeah.
Nice little no-look pass from Munchenberg beforehand.
Flat shot at the goal that, as you say, the goalkeeper couldn't do much about that.
No. When it comes off your ear. So the Sharks will look to fight back and bite back early. Porter. Oh, long shot from Porter. Traeger couldn't get anywhere near it.
Yeah. There needed to be a little more defence out in the play as well, not just relying on the goalkeeper there. They had too much space.
I think that they've kind of, initially it looks like the Tritons are saying, well, okay, go from distance. We'll allow you to shoot from distance, see what you can do. They might change that now.
That's not paying off for them if that's their tactic at the moment.
It seemed that they were happy to do that and then they've changed it. Munchenberg. And Porter for company. Little bit of space for the shot. That's a good save from Stain. Almost turned it over though. And the mass migration down the other end of the pool.
They're keeping their pace up. It's only the second quarter.
Sarah Matheson has space. Martin manages to get inside. Wonderful looking pass, and then the lob off the post. And Michaela Roberts will get a goal, pushes them out to 4-2. And all the work that the Tritons did to get level, it's been wiped out. It's a lovely little pass from Martin, and then the weight of the shot from Michaela Roberts was inch perfect. Munchenberg and Porter renew their friendship in midfield. A good pass into. Tell you what, is there a more difficult position in sport than centre forward in water polo? You just have someone draped over your back. Good shot. Oh, the hand from Stain did enough, and it came the right side of the crossbar for her.
You talk about the strength in the legs of the goalkeeper. The centre forward and centre back are pedalling furiously there to push against each other. You know, there's a fair bit of wrestling that goes on before the ball comes in, so it's energy sapping. And that was
good turnover. I've gone back to Traeger. Good outlet in front. We found Sophie Hall. Manages to get her head up. Munchenberg found herself in a position, came off the crossbar though. Beat Stain.
Deserved better, that was good.
Could not beat the frame of the goal. Backhand from Martin. She knows where the goals are. I've said it in a million different sports. The goals don't move. If you know where they are, you know where they are.
And you know where you are relative to them, and that's Jess's strength.
Getting shots off from absolutely impossible positions. Munchenberg again. at the top.
No foul.
Again, everything is coming through Munchenberg. Long shot. Stain denies them.
So Tritons are being forced to shoot from afar and not being able to get past the defence.
Go the ball. They want it. Help
Emmy
the
Van
ball.
Duin, we're going with Duin.
Yep.
Duin.
Oh well. I won't pronounce that correctly. I'm
We'll,
sorry.
yeah. We apologise if we butcher it, Emmy. Strong challenge from Munchenberg, too strong. Martin, forced to go backwards, dump it out. Millie Lewis will take over.
Nearly another Adelaide Jet player. Very experienced.
Almost all the way.
Press, no foul. Hands up, no foul.
I think I could be wrong, we do. I think that might be Jess's dad. Is that Jess's dad who's appeared?
No.
There's someone in the Henley shirt who is offering colour commentary. He's right by our microphone and shouting out tips. So a minute,
Okay, balance, girl.
change to go. 2-goal lead to the Sharks.
Yeah.
Good interception by Munchenberg.
Unfortunately, when players aren't really moving the opposition or your teammates aren't making movement, yeah, it's an easy pick-off as it was there for Sophie Munchenberg.
She's certainly got her name called a number of times tonight.
Hands up, no.
Now we've got it into centre forward.
Yeah,
And she's got the ball. And they've reset the clock, which wasn't.
so it's going to be a Sharks ball with 30 seconds to go.
One more.
You would think that the Tritons will get one more possession
Here's the ball.
in this quarter, so they'll want to shut it down and go quickly.
They don't want it in the hands of Jess Martin. Now they'll press to make it
Long
hard.
shot again, so there will be time, about 14 seconds for the Tritons to cut the deficit to 1 just before half time. Gonna have to go.
What you'll be looking for is someone that's got a
Munchenberg.
shot.
It's gonna have to go. Bounces it off the surface, and that will do us. So the Henley Sharks are leading this one by 2 goals as we reach half time. Just trying to see
What a great start.
how long we have for half time, but 2 goals in it. Certainly not over. I mean, I have seen water polo can have the potential to blow out. This one hasn't so far. It's stayed close, 2 goals in it. Henley leading this one 4 goals to 2. We will take a short break and we will be back for quarter number 3. So welcome back. My name is David Webb, joined in commentary by Peter Cleary. One of the things I was talking to Jason Wedding about before the game is, as technology moves on, having an underwater referee. Do we think that's something that water polo? I know they're talking about it for the top levels for the Olympics and things. Is it something you'd like to see, or do you think that there should always be some mystique around water polo and what happens under the surface stays under the surface?
I think as technology, as we've seen in many other sports, is not necessarily the complete answer to how you umpire or see a game.
It's never going to fix it.
So it has to be something that is adding to the game and is enabling decisions to be, let's say, clearer and quicker. So I think they'll experiment over time with some of these things, but whether it actually improves it. In an Olympic game or other places, the referees are usually up a little higher, therefore they get a different view. As you can see from this view, you can see quite a lot of what goes on underwater.
You can see a lot.
You've got the angle.
Yeah. And here goes Jason Wedding. Second time's a charm, Jason. Only just. But again, Munchenberg is there. And again, the Tritons will get first bite. We talked very, very briefly. It's not the longest of half-time breaks in sport.
No.
We did talk very briefly, and we were asked which way we thought it was going to go. And now, obviously, both of us are completely impartial. But it does feel like there's a little bit of destiny written for Sophie Munchenberg at the moment. She's just rising to the top of this game.
Yeah, there's a bit of that, but they've got to find a way past Tours in goals.
Yes.
She's read everything beautifully and stopped most, so they've got to get those shots away with a little more venom and a little more accuracy. And
just missed it again. The woodwork saves Traeger.
There's your player again.
Perfect outlet to Munchenberg. Just looking for a little bit of space. Sends it over to Lewis. Lewis will dump it into centre forward.
Yeah, he can't play that ball after the ref has blown and given a decision. So she's out. So it's an extra man. A new 30 seconds.
Lots of space then, Munchenberg. Munchenberg hits the woodwork. Again, they are going to get a second bite at it though. Around 15 seconds for them to get a shot off. They do get a shot off. Stain again, big and strong hands. The lob comes off the crossbar. And the Sharks can breathe a sigh of relief. It looked like they were two players down to it.
No, they've just
had someone in
it. They've swapped out. They've got to swap out in that little red box there at the end of their half of the court.
Lambert will carry. Alice has moved, Martin has moved herself into that centre forward role. Long shot, and again the woodwork. I did have a chat with Jason, a long chat with him before the game, and I asked whether he got much discussion from players while they were playing. I couldn't imagine there would be because they were tired. Martin proving that no, they can and will.
They'll give lip, but they also have to be very careful because it goes against them as in any other sport.
As in any other sport. I just couldn't imagine anyone having enough energy to argue with a referee, but
these athletes actually train very hard.
Got to get a shot off. 2 seconds. Does get a shot off, and again, Stain big between the sticks.
Anticipated the shot beautifully, had the stretch to make sure it didn't go over, a lob over her.
Speaking of a lob, not as accurate as she would want it to be. Now there's a chance for a first time. They did get the keeper out of position, and the Henley will score again. 5 goals to 2. That cross pool pass had Ellen Traeger all sorts. Completely out of position.
Yeah, that was poor defence from Tritons over on this side, leaving the goalkeeper exposed. getting a bit willing.
And Charlotte Dirk is going to spend some time excluded. The Tritons have been given chances and just haven't taken them. There's another one, and Stain again. Playing the role of Gandalf the Grey tonight. Nothing will pass.
Okay, reduce Henley.
Holding off and another turnover.
Referee spotted something he didn't like.
Henley are doing their best to keep Tritons in it.
But to think somewhere along the way Tritons are going to get one through, but it's, you know, Tors is just too strong and well positioned.
Stain has been very, very good tonight. Now they do get to the centre forward, and again, they tried to lob her, and the height that she can get out of the water makes that a very, very difficult proposition.
Perhaps wasn't, you know, in retrospect, the best choice Millie could have made. But anyway, she's the player, she has to make the call.
Someone has lost headgear. Van Duyn. Long shot, and again the crossbar comes to the rescue of Traeger. Munchenberg again. It is still close, it's still gettable. Only really for the sake of the goal. The framework of the goal, the Tritons are still in it at the moment. Lewis out to the back, 5 seconds on the shot clock. Oh, that one does sneak through.
Great goal.
5 goals to 3. There's number 12, who is Nissa Wedding. Managed to find a way through the... you could see her start to go up. Again, expecting them to try and go over the top, and just managed to sneak it under the frame of Stain.
Just at an awkward angle, an awkward bounce for Tors in goal there, and it just got under her hands and through.
Bannon absolutely just couldn't have placed it any better. Nissa Wedding. And off we go again, back to a 2-goal difference. Just having a look on the board, Sarah Matheson just in a little bit of foul trouble. Less than 2 minutes to go in this one, and then the final quarter. It's not a terrible ball, but it will be won by Rate. And they will turn over again. Traeger will restart. So that's Holly Porter, has been excluded, and Sophie Munchenberg has called a timeout.
You're allowed 1 per half. Oftentimes that's called, as it just was then, when there's an extra man advantage, 26 seconds on the clock. It allows the offense team to actually regroup, think their strategy.
Game clock still running, so it's going to take a while to reset.
No, that's the
oh, that's the timeout clock.
Yeah, and at 15 seconds, the ref will blow them back into position. They take position. The goalie will feed the ball in.
So it's a very sensible, very experienced timeout, as they do have the power play, the extra member.
Extra man's about really stretching the defence, making sure the ball moves.
Someone's got to be free, haven't they?
Yeah, that's one side to the other, and the goalkeeper's got to keep moving to make sure that she covers all angles. So it's up to the skill of the team in defence to keep the ball in their hand and move it quickly.
So they'll have 26 seconds to start this off. Yeah. Again, that no-look pass. Over to this near side. Just probing and trying to find a way through. McHugh sends it out to the far side to Ray. Munchenberg again, and Munchenberg this time Makes no mistake. Cuts it down to 1 goal.
That ball came from the left side, straight across, opened up the angle for the shot. And the shot was taken quickly, which gives the goalkeeper very little time.
Yeah, there was not a lot even Stain could do about that one. So we are back to 1 goal the difference. Defensively, the Tritons have just looked a little bit better in this 3rd quarter. Into the middle, and Munchenberg will pick the pocket of Martin. Off and running. She is doing everything she can to make it a 3-on-2. She's just going all the way, Munchenberg. Can she get free? Just trying to find out the call.
And that's a penalty shot because they swam over the top of her. She was between the ball and the goal, and they were behind her.
Yeah, I think that was number 3, Michaela Robertson. She puts herself in foul trouble, and there's the finish from Munchenberg, and she will bring it level. Sheer determination, because she made the interception in the centre forward position or the central defender position, and then just powered forward.
That's right. And had the strength. As I said, she's an extremely quick swimmer. She hasn't lost a swim up in this game so far. You know, deceptively fast.
She even won the swim up that ended up on the Sharks' side.
Yeah.
So that one just wide. You wonder come the end of this game whether just those missed shots, those ones that have gone just wide and the ones that have hit the frame of the goal. Munchenberg again is the focal point.
Oh.
Throws a wet ball in front and didn't really put it where she wanted. I think she was hoping to get some sort of penalty just in front.
It wasn't close enough to the player.
So 5 seconds. Henley, long shot, and again the crossbar comes to the aid of the Tritons, and we will go into the 4th quarter tied up, 5 goals apiece. So, not to wish it on anybody, if it remains all tied up after the last 7 minutes. Extra time, I imagine.
Penalty shootout.
Straight to penalty shootout?
Well, I think they're the rules. I haven't checked with the technical committee over there.
We always end up at this. We always reach a point with a couple of minutes to go and we go, well, what actually happens? Well, it's probably something I should do. It's me not doing my research. I apologise.
No, it'll go to penalty shootout.
Straight to, there's no extra time?
Well, no, and half of the women in this pool are going to jump into the pool with the women in the diving pool for an extra training session. So
is that the Jets over there?
That's right. So you ask about their fitness, and that's why they last a game and a game very strongly. I
was talking to one of the Henley Sharks, and I apologise, I didn't get her name, and I can't recognise her because she's got a hat on. I talked about whether this was the only sport. Most of them were saying yes, it's the only sport because it's basically a 12-month sport. Once you go from the local level, you're then going into the national competition. She was saying that she started rowing, and she said that the water polo has assisted her rowing massively just because of her stamina and her leg strength.
I think when you watch people that are natural athletes, they tend to jump from one sport to another, but both these sports require stamina and strength, so it's not surprising that she's benefiting from playing water polo. But most of the team will probably take a rest around May to June, depending on whether they've got national duties or other tournaments, and then they'll get back in the water ready for an October start to the A-grade season and a January start to the National League season. So, if you want to play at those levels, you have to be in the water training and keeping fit.
So the final quarter. And you just wonder about mentality, and Jess Martin's going to have to really work to just keep her team with their head screwed on, because they had a 3-goal lead going into the 3rd quarter, which has been referred to as the Premiership quarter on a million occasions, mostly by myself. And then to find yourself going into the fourth quarter all square.
Yeah, there's perhaps a mental edge with Tritons at this stage, but all will be told in the next 5-7 minutes.
Munchenberg again just showing, extreme pace. And that's 4 out of 4 for Munchenberg.
I don't know if you saw how she took off for that swim, but she's got a powerful leg kick that really started that sprint.
She's now found herself in the central. The Tritons come away from this. They might award player of the game to the crossbar.
Yeah.
Martin faked the shot, then looks inside. In the foul. Out to the top to Porter, to Martin, and again the frame of the goal rescues the Tritons.
Off.
Munchenberg renews acquaintances with Porter. That was there initially and dropped off a little bit. Hammond just takes a shot.
Yep, you've got to give the space between.
15 seconds to go. Munchenberg sends it back out to Hall. This time she pulled the trigger. Martin again into that centre forward position. They will find a Martin from the most impossible of angles.
That's where
Beats Traeger again.
Tritons got caught a little bit out there with Sophie, who's not the natural centre back, up against Jess. Relying too much on their obviously outstanding player of the evening.
Munchenberg versus Porter again. Hammond sends it into the front.
She took the ball under the water, which is a change of possession to the other side. Even if the other player pushed her hand under, it's against the player with the ball.
Martin now at the point. Will send it out and find Van Duyn. And another turnover. Sharks very good transitionally defending that.
Yep. Number 5.
Yeah, so that's Charlotte Dirk again.
Another timeout called by Sophie.
So they will have that power play. 27 seconds on the shot clock. It worked for them last time. They need it again. Interestingly now, Michaela Roberts, Charlotte Dirk, Maddie Lambert, and Sarah Matheson all in foul trouble. So there is Sophie Munchenberg, who has worked incredibly hard through this one, and you have to be honest, has dragged the Tritons back into this one. And then of course for the Henley Sharks stalwart Jess Martin, just to edge the nose in front again. So they're going to get a full 30 seconds again. Traeger will start them. So the playmaker in Munchenberg, then out to the far side to Rate. Munchenberg again, looking for an angle. Nothing there. Almost double teaming her. Again looking for an angle, not there. Munchenberg again at the top. This time she goes and
she found that space.
Again just managing to get Stain out of the water and then going low just to her side. And we're all tied up again. 6 goals apiece. Just under 4 minutes to play. Martin coaching from centre water again. Martin finds herself centre forward. Matheson just with a little cutting swim into the attacking area. Long shot.
Bad luck.
Traeger got her hand to it again, just wasn't strong enough. Just taking a moment away to our right, the Jets are training, but they are treading water and throwing a medicine ball around. That's impressive. Munchenberg again starts them off. Another foul, and again they will look to go through with Munchenberg.
9 seconds.
Get it to centre forward, look for something, got something.
Make it the extra man again.
No timeouts left, so they just have to go. Rate. Back to the point, just couldn't quite get it in. Munchenberg almost being double teamed, and again, but they managed to get into the front, and Stain amazingly managed to readjust. It just didn't sit right for McHugh. Two and a half minutes to go, 1 goal the difference. Shot just over. Ball in front of Sophie Hall. Into the centre, into Munchenberg. Back out to Hall, back into Munchenberg. And
maybe there's an over-reliance on Sophie to score the goals.
there is a little bit. No one seems willing to pull the trigger. There was a couple of occasions, especially on the power play, where McHugh and Hall had opportunities to pull the trigger, but they just seem to want to go back to Munchenberg.
And centre forward's not her natural position. As I said, she's a speed player, not a strength player.
I think that's why she finds herself there in those transition swims. She just finds herself in those positions because she's there first.
She's fast, and she's also stepping up as a leader, which you can't fault. It's for the rest of her teammates to get behind her.
And again, Hall, this time Munchenberg just sits at the back and allows everyone to overtake her. Rate.
Now that's more of a natural setup for them.
This time they do find a centre forward. Pushed it under the water. And another turnover. So now we see again in that transition swim, because Munchenberg is the quickest, she's just going to find herself in that centre forward position if she's not, that central defender position. If she's not careful, she's going to find herself one-on-one with Jess Martin, which is exactly what's happened. Now, if you are Martin, you would want that, and you want it quickly. 5 seconds on the shot clock. Oh, it's off the crossbar and in. This time the crossbar works for Henley. And with 41 seconds left on the clock, they get a 2-goal lead, barring a miracle. So the Tritons need a goal and then a turnover very, very quickly. Rate. They just don't have time. Got to score, and got to score quickly. Munchenberg versus Martin again, this time at the point. She has to go, and Martin shuts the door. And they have more time than is available on the shot clock. They can just see this one out if they want to.
They have to keep playing the ball forward. They can't sit on it in the last minute of the game. So they're keeping moving forward.
Less than 10 seconds and the ball in the hands of Martin. And we'll look to centre forward. Munchenberg will intercept, but too little, too late. And 8 goals to 6. Henley will be the 2020 champions. so close, and that is 8 in a row for Henley Sharks.
Again, I think it's unfortunate for Tritons, but they needed to back their key player up there, and they just didn't have the confidence to do so. Too many shots hitting the crossbar and going over the top. And I think the difference between the two teams in the end probably was the goalkeeper, the more experienced Victoria.
Victoria Stain had a massive game in the goals, and I think you talk about the difference. Traeger just didn't look as solid between the sticks, and the frame of the goal did come to the rescue of the Tritons on a number of occasions. Sophie Munchenberg so near but so far for her. She had an absolutely outstanding game. Jess Martin as well, absolutely outstanding, imperious in front of goals. It didn't matter if she finds herself in that centre forward position, she's just dangerous.
That's right. And you know, Sophie gave her all. It shows on her face now. She was the standout player of the game, and it's unfortunate she wasn't on the side that took the trophy. That's sport, and she will get back in the water and train with her team shortly.
Most of the girls were showing 7 there. I don't know whether we've miscounted or they've only done the 7 and Jess Martin's got 8. I don't know. I couldn't see everybody's hands.
They'd know what they're doing.
I think they know more than us. So it could be 7 in a row. The magnificent 7. Oh, they were going for 7 in a row. So it is the magnificent 7 for the Henley Sharks, winning this one 8-6 from the Adelaide Aquatic Centre. An absolutely devastated Sophie Munchenberg gets the congratulations from the Sharks players, and they will continue their dominance. From me, Dave Webb, and everybody here involved with the Space Break Sports crew, thank you very much for joining us, and good night.
Steady, Hannah Todd. Perfect. That one down there. Oh, that was a hard hit right down the eye.